Hello, New England, and welcome to this week's edition of the Financial Game Plan, the show that's designed to help you have a solid plan in place for your retirement. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio is Skip Kelley. He is the president of 𝗬𝗪s Financial Advisory, soon to be called Terra Firma Financial. Skip, my friend, it's great to be back with you. How are you this week?
Kristen, I'm doing great. Great to see you too.
Thank you. Well, I'm looking forward to this show. I know you've put together another great one for our viewers at home. We're going to be talking today about something known as the Great Wealth Transfer. What is it and how does it affect you? That is what we are going to be diving into deeply today. And if anyone was born between the years of 1946 and 1980 in particular, you're definitely going to want to listen to what we have to say today. This is an important subject for sure. So let's start off. What is this Great Wealth Transfer, Skip? What do we mean when we're talking about that?
Well, the Great Wealth Transfer is going to be happening, and it is happening as we speak. We have a generation, the baby boomers, that would be moi, I'm a 55 baby, and now we're transitioning into the Generation Xers coming into the retirement horizon. So things are changing quickly. A whole new generation is coming into retirement.
Absolutely. And with that, this great wealth transfer, I've seen the stat that it's up to $84 trillion is what is estimated to pass from the baby boomer generation on down to the Gen X and Millennial generations over the next few decades. $84 trillion. That's a lot of money, Skip.
Yeah, it's really hard to put into perspective when you start talking trillions, what it means. But yes, there's a lot of money coming their way.
Yep.
I'm sure it's not one of those if you like it or not situations. They're going to like it, but it's happening. And wouldn't it be nice if it transpired smoothly and to the best benefit to all of you Generation X's who will be the beneficiaries?
Absolutely. Well, I had to look this up just to represent it because I can never keep the years straight in my head. So baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1964. That's your generation. Mine, Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980. And then millennials, of course, beyond that. But here's the one thing that shocked me when I read this article about the Great Wealth Transfer is that, like it or not, Gen X is now entering the retirement red zone, if you will. Define what that retirement red zone is and what that means.
Yeah, Generation X, you're not babies anymore.
Right.
What does the red zone mean? The retirement red zone simply means you're within 10 years of retiring. That's what we utilize in the industry anyway. You're in the red zone, you better have a good game plan.
Yep. Absolutely. So anyone born from 1965 on at the cusp of that Gen X, baby boomer into Gen X, are now needing to really think about retirement for sure.
We're starting to deal with more and more of them.
Yep, for sure. Well, we're going to be delving into the implications of this great wealth transfer from both perspectives. Obviously, there's things that need to be taken into consideration for those that are leaving the wealth behind, right? The baby boomers and transitioning that. But equally important is for those who are going to be inheriting that wealth, meaning Gen X, Millennial, and beyond. So, gosh, a lot to talk about here today.
Well, there is. And it's nice to be the recipient or the beneficiary. That's wonderful. You're probably going to want to know what to do with that money. In fact, actually, most Gen Xers probably know what to do with that money when it comes in. They'll probably be either paying down a mortgage or paying off their kids' debt. But that's where probably most of the Gen Xers will be utilizing those funds. But yeah, on the other side of the coin, if you're the one who will be leaving those monies behind, wouldn't it be nice if you had a good plan, the one that everybody was aware of, knew what was going to transpire, and it worked out smoothly, inexpensively, not having to use attorneys to get through probate, things of that nature.
Absolutely.
It would be nice to have your ducks in a row.
And
it's easily doable.
Yep, and to do so in a tax-efficient manner, which I know we're going to get into later in this show as well. But let me start with this, because I know we've talked on previous episodes. One of the things that really makes you and your team different is that you provide so much under one roof for folks. It's kind of a one-stop shop, if you will. People can come in, they can start this financial game plan process, look at everything from a comprehensive, holistic point of view. And one of the key components of the financial game plan is estate planning, legacy planning. Talk a little bit more about what you're able to do for folks in that realm.
Well, again, there's 5 components of the financial game plan. The income planning is typically the most important, but by the time you get down to the bottom of the list, the 5th component is estate planning. Most people need to get that done, or some less than nice things can transpire, can happen down the road, whether you like it or not. So let's get that done. In our office, the way that we handle that is, I think we introduced last week, 𝗍𝗠𝗃 𝗪𝗏 has been with us for 4 or 5 years in our office. He is has a master's in taxation, so he does the tax preparation for our clients who choose to have him do that. But he also helps me with the tax planning, which is totally different than tax preparation, which your CPA or your accountant or your bookkeeper can do. Tax planning is an entirely different scenario, trying to not worry about getting all of our deductions in to reduce our tax. We're trying to figure out what can we do now to make sure we put ourselves in the best tax situation down the road in retirement.
Absolutely. Well, and it definitely affects that inherited money as well, and we're going to talk more about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's the final component there, the estate planning. We need to get that put together unless you like to make things interesting.
Or difficult, right?
Yeah, it can be very difficult and expensive if you don't do this. And what we're trying to accomplish is not all of that expensive. I mean, you can go spend for an estate plan $10,000, $12,000 if you want to. If you go down to the high-rise buildings on Elm Street in Manchester, go get a high fee attorney, things of that nature. But for the same exact work that will be done by someone in a larger corporation like that, we do that in-house for less than $3,000. All we want to do is make sure that all of our clients get this done.
Yes.
So that when the day comes that you're no longer around, your wishes are taken care of and the assets flow smoothly to wherever you wanted them to flow.
Absolutely. You know, I've heard it said that whether, most people, they might think that one of the misconceptions is that, oh, I don't need an estate plan because my wealth isn't X amount. But the reality is that even if you don't create one, there's one created for you by the state. And then to your point, the problem is it's what they might do, which may not necessarily be in alignment with your wishes. And we want your wishes to be carried out. This is why this is so critical. Well,
I've got some good stories for people that didn't get their work done. And when you're ready for me to share, let me know.
Yeah, we will. So when we come back from our break here, we're going to delve into some key stories that Skip has to share. And again, this is not to scare you. This is just to make you aware of the reality of what's at stake by not engaging in estate planning. And we don't want you to end up in a dire situation. And so part of what we're offering today is a complimentary written financial plan. All you have to do is call the number on the bottom of your screen, 844-823-6398. As part of this meeting, you can talk about estate planning. You can get this done. You can cross this off your list. It is one of the most loving things that you can ever do for the folks that you're going to leave behind. And so we encourage you, if this has been on your to-do list for a long time and you've been procrastinating, today's the day. Pick up the phone, call that number, and start your path to being able to get this done. You're also welcome to take out your smartphone. Just simply open up that camera app. You can point it right there at that QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and a member of the team will reach out to you and connect with you to schedule your complimentary visit that way as well. More on this great wealth transfer when we return.
I've been involved in finance and real estate my entire career since 1982. I was brought to my knees financially in 2007, 8, and 9 when the markets pulled back 56%. And I determined then and there that would never happen to me again. And that's when we created Safe Money Retirement Strategies. We've shortened that name now to 𝗬𝗓 Financial Advisory. I started in different areas in the insurance industry, finding niches that worked better, became an income planner, got my securities license and things of that nature. So now we're a holistic financial advisor, and we're income planners. We help our clients figure out how they're going to get from where they were to where they need to be in order to retire with peace of mind. Probably more than 90% of people, this is their plan. They cross their fingers and hope. They do what they've been told to do all their life. Just keep shoveling monies into the market and you'll be great. They hope that everything will go well, that there won't be any major pullbacks and things of that nature. That's not a plan. We try to do every component that you need to have done in retirement preparation. We want to make sure that you've got your income plan, you've got your assets properly allocated, you've got a tax plan, long-term care and health planning, and then finally, the legacy planning. Our clients love us, we love them, we make a fabulous living, and we know that we put our clients into a better situation than they were when they met us.
Welcome back, New England. You're watching The Financial Game Plan with Skip Kelley. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley. We are talking today about the great wealth transfer. We talked in the first segment how it's estimated that $84 trillion is set to pass from the baby boomer generation on down to Gen X and Millennials over the next few decades. And so we're talking today about the importance of legacy planning. There's important things to take into consideration, whether you're the one leaving the wealth or you're the recipient of that inherited wealth. So Skip, my first question, I know we're going to get into some powerful stories that you have to share with our viewers today, but when folks come in to meet with you and they want to discuss legacy planning, what is typically at top of their mind? What is the most prominent concern or question, if you will, that they have when it comes specifically to legacy planning?
Well, the first question is, do I need a trust? Mm-hmm. And if so, what kind of trust? Mm-hmm. Well, most people, if you've got assets, you could use a trust. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. Probably be a revocable trust. That's not my job to explain that. That's why we have Peter. He's the attorney in the office, and that's who I hand them over. So I don't get involved with the estate planning part of it. I just want to make sure my clients, if they need that work done, get it done. So it's nice to be able to do that
so you're being able to all be on the same page.
In one place. That's correct. So my job is to get them to see the light that they should sit down with Peter and understand why they would potentially need it. But another question that comes right out of their mouth, right off the bat is, well, if I need some kind of a trust, it's because I need to figure out how not to have to pay for my Medicaid expenses should I go into an assisted living or nursing home. So people want to know how they can protect their portfolio from a situation, a horrific situation, financially anyway.
Right.
And I will tell you right off the top that what they're really looking for is an irrevocable trust in order to keep those funds invisible to Medicaid so that they can't take your monies in order to pay for your Medicaid expenses. I can tell you that most clients will not take it to that degree or to that level. Most clients will stay with a revocable trust and won't go with the irrevocable when they understand the downsides. It's easy to see the benefits of an irrevocable trust, meaning that you're not going to pay for your assisted living or nursing home. It's not so easy to see the benefits of not doing it.
Right. So, well, so much goes into that, the look back period. I mean, that we can go down a whole rabbit hole on that conversation.
That's right. And that you'd be better off having an attorney and have Peter sitting here talking about that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's share. I know you have shared with me some powerful stories of folks that you are helping to navigate through legacy planning, estate planning. So go ahead and share one of those with our viewers.
I've got one really good one for you because it's right in my face, and it has been for the last couple of years. One of my good clients has 3 other siblings. Her parents own this beautiful house up on the beach in 𝗧𝗵𝗲, Maine. I mean, a beautiful, fabulous house, worth about $4 million right now. And the family, the parents were the sweetest people on the planet. You know, their goal, when they were floating around up in the clouds looking down, was to have that particular house on the beach liquidated and the funds divided in 4 different directions, right? Now, if you knew that you, as one of the siblings, was going to have a nice chunk of dough coming in somewhere down the line, what would your thoughts be? Would you already know what you were going to spend some of that money on?
I think a lot of people have things earmarked if they know they're going to receive an inheritance, right?
Maybe paying off the kids' college debt or paying off the mortgage, things like that. You might have an idea what you do with some. Maybe buy a condo down in Florida. Who the heck knows? So it's nice to have an idea of what you want to get done. The problem is that what you're thinking about having happen is not necessarily going to have happen or lay out or fold out the way that you want it to your beneficiaries if you don't have it down in a trust. So in this particular case, of the 4 siblings, 3 of the kids had no problem. They were waiting for their money, thought there wouldn't be any problem there at all. There was no trust, just a will, spelled out what they wanted done. The youngest of the 4 siblings was another woman, my client's sister, and she took a stick and stuck it in the spokes of that plan. She contested the will. It's over 2 years later now. There's a $4 million property that was supposed to be for sale. It's still not for sale. So they're still getting to enjoy the property, but the 3 kids are they talking to the daughter, the 4th daughter? The answer is no.
Causes
that family
a lot of
got
strife.
split.
Yeah.
Absolutely split. And here's my question. You got a $4 million house on the beach. Who's paying for the upkeep,
The taxes.
the deferred maintenance,
Yep.
the taxes,
Insurance.
landscaping, insurance? Who's paying for all of that? And the answer is that the estate is, which in reality is the children's money.
Right.
So it's
But it's
getting
being
paid.
depleted now, right?
It's still coming out of their back pocket, but it's still there. The problem is obviously the younger daughter could not bear to lose the property that she spent every summer in growing up. So I understand the emotions that go along with that.
Sure.
But a trust would have avoided all of that, because
Absolutely.
if all you have is a will, that can be contested.
Yep.
If you have, it's simple, revocable trust. Doesn't matter. There's no such thing. You can't contest it. The house would have been sold 2 years ago. None of those expenses would have ever happened. And the kids would have been much happier, and it would be a full family.
Right.
Now you've got those sweet parents floating around up in the clouds down there looking down going, what have we done? Don't let that happen to you. It's so simple, and it happens all the time.
And it's, to your point, it's so sad when it rips families apart, especially when it can be taken care of on the front end to avoid that unnecessary strife.
Again, money can make people funny. Not everybody lets money rule them, but there are lots of people out there that get very funny anytime money comes into the conversation. If you think that you know somebody else's motives around money, stick around them long enough and you'll find out what their true motives are.
Right, absolutely. Well, I know that helping to preserve a legacy of peace is something that I think a lot of families want, but maybe, it's interesting, different cultures. I was actually having a conversation as we were getting ready in the studio for today's show with another woman on the set. I grew up in a family that handled death one way. I married into a family that handles death a very different way. So on one hand, I had, people who talk about it, who had planned for these things, married into a family that doesn't want to talk about it until it happens, but then it's too late. And so you have to navigate, different people's emotions. There's a lot that comes into play, but I think what can hold a lot of folks back from engaging in legacy planning is, one, the lack of knowledge, as we've talked about, but also it can be uncomfortable, and we understand that. But I think, Skip, you do a really good job of helping people understand this is a really loving thing that you can do. This is the most loving thing that you can do for those that you leave behind. Right,
and I'm not the one sitting in there with Peter when he's coming up with and having the discussions about how you want to put that revocable trust together. But when you just mentioned a minute ago that there are some definitely tough questions that are being asked because the husband and the wife have to be on the same page, and a lot of times they aren't.
Right.
So in those conversations, how will we lay out this trust? It's very important to have an attorney who will hold your hand and guide you through properly.
Yeah. Well, and the dangers, there's so many celebrities that have even died without a will, which is so mind-blowing.
All the time.
And, the problem with probate, 3 huge problems. Number one, it takes forever. There's some estates that are still being drawn out, right? It can take a very long time. It's very expensive. You're going to incur exorbitant legal fees. And on top of it, it's a matter of public record. So that means that anyone can go down to the courthouse, pull up a copy of your will,
privacy.
See who had what, right? It can just get really messy really quickly.
Sure can. That's why you take care of this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, if someone's on the fence today, or maybe after listening to this, they're going, you know what, Skip, I think you're right. I need to get this taken care of. What would you say to that individual?
Well, I would say most people, when they come into our office, the first thing that we're looking at is getting them squared away financially. But we also, as we just discussed here, the legal aspects are very, very important. They do not hinge on, whether you work with me does not hinge on whether or not you would work with Peter. If we don't have any future, if you've got your portfolio all set or have another advisor, that's okay. You can still work with Peter to get, or maybe he can help you with taxes, but he certainly can help you with the estate planning aspect of it. So if it makes sense and you need to know more, then you know what? Stop procrastinating. It's time. The sooner you make your moves going forward, the more options that you'll have. So give a call if it makes sense.
Absolutely. Skip, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call to get your own complimentary financial plan, 844-823-6398, or you're also welcome to scan that QR code down in the bottom right-hand corner, and that will get you connected as well. More in this important discussion of the Great Wealth Transfer right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just a downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination rain on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back, New England. You're watching The Financial Game Plan with Skip Kelley. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley. A very important discussion we are having today about legacy planning, knowing that $84 trillion is estimated to pass from the baby boomer generation on down over the next several decades. You know, one of the things we talked about earlier in the show, Skip, is the importance of not only engaging in legacy planning, estate planning, having a will, having a trust, making sure your beneficiary designations are up to date. There's so much that goes into that. But being, planning for it so that this wealth can pass in a very tax efficient manner. So my next question for you is, what can baby boomers do now who are wanting to leave wealth to their loved ones? What can they do so that they aren't in unnecessarily and unintentionally leaving a tax bomb to their loved ones?
Tax bomb.
Yes, let's talk about what that tax bomb potentially might be.
I've heard it referred to as a tax time bomb, same thing, but I mean, that's what it is. In reality, when you keep shoveling monies into your qualified accounts over and over, every paycheck for decades, what are you doing? You are creating a tax time bomb. Sooner or later, every single dime in that account, as it comes out, will be taxed.
Right, these tax-deferred accounts that people have been putting money away.
That's right, every dime. So you're creating a tax time bomb. And so the question is, at what tax rate, if you were to take some of that monies out, what would your tax rate be? What would your taxes be? And then the next question is, okay, if you don't, and you hand them off or let them go through to your beneficiaries, what are their tax ramifications going to be? What tax rate would they pay? Because someone's going to pay taxes on that money. If you don't convert the monies in your qualified plans to Roth, someone's paying taxes on that money, whether it's you or the person that it goes to.
Right.
And for most people in retirement, their tax rate is going to be lower than the person that they're giving the money to, because typically the person, your beneficiary, is still working, is still getting income coming from earned income from jobs.
And potentially in their highest earning years based on how old they might be. And so then they're already bumped up into a higher tax bracket.
We've talked about this before, but my father-in-law's in that situation where his income is way lower than all 5 of his children, but he's a Scotsman. He's not going to he's not going to pay the taxes. Somebody else is going to pay the taxes on him. He's worked hard for that money, did a tremendous job at it. He's not doing it. He could easily do it if he wanted to. It's okay, one way or the other. It doesn't matter. It's his money. He can do what he wants. But intelligently, if you're looking at the big picture, much better off paying the taxes on his end and then having the money moved in upon his death. Tax-free.
Well, you bring up a really good point, because I know that part of what your job is as a financial advisor is helping to present all the options, helping people understand what the consequences are of all these different options. But at the end of the day, this is your money and you get to decide, and there's really no right or wrong answers, right? I mean, people,
many times.
It's their wishes and they get to have them carried out, but you have to do the planning in order for your wishes to be carried out.
It's their money. They can do what they want with it. I'm always going to give them my take. What would I do? And that's the way I look at every single portfolio that comes in front of me. What would I do if this was my portfolio? Where would I go from here? And that makes it very simple for me on that end. And My clients, they can listen to me or not listen to me. Most of them, fortunately, do. Because what we do makes sense.
Well,
That's
they
the
come
whole
back
thing.
and thank you when they see how it works,
It's
right?
common sense. Oh, yeah. The longer they're with us, the more they love us because they realize just what they've done and how well things are lined up now relative to doing what they were doing, which was living in a constant state of hope.
Right.
Hope that the markets are going to do what we want them to do when we need them to do it. Good luck if that's your plan.
Right.
You can do better.
A strategy of hope is not a plan at the end of the day.
Yeah, you can hope all you want to. Good luck. Good luck. Hope, I don't like that I like knowing that I'm going to be okay and putting things in an organized way where I know I'm going to be okay. It's not a guess anymore.
Yep. For sure. Well, I know that you are very passionate about helping people avoid the unnecessary pitfalls that can come with a lack of estate planning. And the good news is, while this might be new to you, it's not new to Skip and the team of SMRS. I'm looking forward to switching over Terra Firma Financial Advisory.
Might be easier.
And so really, you just have to be an expert in you. What are your wishes? What do you want to have happen with your money? And then your job is to come alongside with your expertise and help make those wishes a reality.
What can we do different than what you're doing right now? And for most of our clients, there's a lot of work to be done there. We don't want you in high risk when you're coming into retirement. So that's the biggest component right there. We're looking to see how much of that wealth we need to transition out of the risk. We've accumulated it over the years. How much of that wealth do we need to take out of the risk of the markets and do something smart with it?
Absolutely. And then make sure that what's left is passed on in the manner in which they want it to be.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
That's the final segment of the plan.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, and so much goes into this. And again, it's that comprehensive, holistic financial planning process. There's no substitute for really sitting down in that environment and seeing what would be right for you. Yeah.
Well, the greatest industry of all time as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I know you love what you do and you love being here and getting to connect with more folks. And we're excited for those of you to be able to come in and connect and get your complimentary written financial plan. Again, that number to call, 844-823-6398, or you can scan that QR code in the bottom right-hand corner and that will get you connected as well. We love you, New England. We appreciate you watching and we look forward to being back with you next time.